3 is the magic number.
It certainly is. Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back to Win Me the Lottery. We've made it to episode 3, Chris.
Episode 3, I can hardly believe it, and we still haven't won. No spoilers, but I don't think we've won.
I think it's up to my estimations that we probably won't do it at number 3, to be honest, because it's when you manifest numbers, 3 always comes up as that magic number. But I've been hardened by life in general. I think, Chris, that
I can
things don't always happen when you think it will happen, and that as long as we keep manifesting, we keep doing the right things and focusing on the right things, it will eventually happen.
And Tony, that's the beautiful thing about life. You never know what's around the corner. Sometimes it might be something bad, but more often than not, it's something unexpected, surprising, that you end up really growing to love. And I think that's what's going to happen with the lottery as well. It's just going to come out of nowhere when we're least expecting it.
I mean, I couldn't agree more, Chris. I mean,
or did I just contradict the entire point of manifesting the? Oh dear.
No. Manifesting can happen in various different ways, Chris.
Huh.
But the important thing is, while we take our listeners on this journey, is that you've got to put yourself out there. And you say in life, if you're not in it, you can't win it.
Quite right.
So, in terms of this weekend, Chris, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was kind of a mixed bag because, Tony, I was the victim of crime at the back end of last week. My bag was snatched from a pub around London Bridge. I lost, I would say everything, almost everything. My glasses, I can't see a thing. My prescription sunglasses, I can't see a thing outside either. My wallet went, and my bag as well. So that was kind of the difficult part. I spent most of Saturday replacing that stuff. But on Sunday, let me tell you, 8-0. I'm a Newcastle fan. I may not sound like a Geordie, but my dad's roots are Geordies, and Newcastle absolutely annihilated Sheffield United 8-0. So that was certainly something I hate to say it, but it was a really good day.
Do you think it's, when we talk about manifestation and the idea of luck, do you think you've channeled all your luck to, trying to win the lotto and trying to kind of focus on your team, Newcastle? They had you could say, a big portion of that win was luck or skill, but...
It was skill.
Skill, definitely. I mean, Newcastle's on the up, for sure. I mean, I've seen their football, and I would say definitely they've merited that win, for sure. But I feel like, when we talk about manifestation and balance of the universe, clearly you've experienced a bit of bad luck with the robbery. Luckily, you weren't... Can we confirm to our listeners that you weren't hurt or anything? It was just under the radar.
Completely unscathed. We didn't see the thief, and I'm completely unscathed. So yeah, I think you make a really good point there of that balance between your good luck, your bad luck, and the 8-0 is one part of that good luck. But has that made me a millionaire? Not yet.
Not just yet. I think it's it could be a case of the yin and the yang. You experience something that is a bit of a negative. Is something positive just around the corner? Is there something positive that could be manifested come Saturday?
And would I give up my vision to see Newcastle win the Premier League? Absolutely. Absolutely I would. But yeah, Tony, I'm really positive about this week. I guess bit of a spoiler alert again, but we're not millionaires this week. We manifested a lot of good numbers last week, but I don't think we got a single match, did we?
No, I mean, I think we can go through the numbers, but yeah, just a bit of kind of heads up to the listeners. Yeah, unfortunately, the manifestation has taken a bit of a blip this week. We didn't quite achieve any numbers this week, but if we talk about kind of going into segment 1, I guess, is like what was last Saturday's jackpot. So it's almost a bit of deja vu, I'm afraid, Chris. If listeners remembered, week 1, the jackpot was, I wouldn't say measly. it was a 4 million, and it's 4 million again. So the lotto jackpot pot was 4 million. So in a way, I wasn't too disappointed with the win. It's one of those things that, it's fine. It was only 4 million.
Yeah. What would we have done with that anyway?
Yeah, exactly. I could just maybe buy a property or something like that. But just for our listeners out in Guinea, West Africa, what is the equivalent of 4 million sterling in
the local currency, which I believe Guinean franc? Is that right, Tony?
Correct. So did a bit of research, and every week so far, it's billions. So 4 million sterling, it's 42 billion Guinean franc.
42 billion Guinean franc. And Tony, I did have to have a look after you mentioned about Guinea, and the average salary in Guinea works out at about £5,400 per year. So can you imagine 42 billion Guinean francs, which is the jackpot of £4 million? If your annual salary is £5,000 a year, what are you going to get with £4 million?
Well, I guess you'll be pretty comfortable. I mean, we're going to kind of financial freedom here. So, you're going to be, compared to 4 million in the UK, Guinean franc.
It's going to take you a lot further. But Tony, as you know, I think we've discussed this in depth on the previous pods. I'm a beer lover, and I'm thinking about beer. And I mentioned you can get a Green King IPA. Okay, maybe it's not the best IPA in the world, but $1.99 for a Green King IPA in Wetherspoons, and that's in central London. I looked up what's the average cost of a pint in Guinea. £1.60. Okay, so your salary is £5,400 per year, and you're paying £1.60 for a pint. So that just does it raises a question of, okay, how comfortably would you live out there in Guinea? £1.60 for a pint.
I thought we were getting shafted on the alcohol tax in the UK.
I thought so too, but clearly not. But I mean, if you extrapolate that out, I think we found, for the whole of the UK, the average cost of a pint here is about £4.50, £4.80, is it?
Something like that. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's nearly £5, I believe. Yeah.
So let's say it's around 3 times more in the UK, the average cost of a pint. But the average salary in the UK is between 5 and 6 times higher. So actually, you're going to be able to sink more pints if you have £4 million in the UK rather than taking 42 billion Guinean francs in Guinea. So just that everybody's aware, Guinea may not be right for you, but we don't want to put words in people's mouths.
But yeah, I mean, I never actually considered living in Africa. But again, it's another option for people that kind of want to explore, I guess, uncharted lands, really. I mean, we've talked about Asia, but yeah, Africa.
Africa's another one. Yeah. So far we've obviously covered Laos, we've covered Guinea now, and
Uzbekistan was something that again, these are places that you don't hear a lot about. But again, on this show, we like to give them some exposure. We want to talk about countries that maybe a bit underrepresented.
And what we really want is a deal with their tourism board. That's what we're working towards.
That could work out. That could be a nice relationship. I mean,
get in touch, guys. Get in touch. What's the email address again?
It's tony.win.lotto@gmail.com.
Yeah, we're willing to hear from you. Guinea, Laos, anybody really.
Perfect. So, if we move on to what were the winning numbers last Saturday. So if I go through them, it's 12, 34, 37, 41, 55, 58, and the bonus ball was 13.
Unlucky for some.
Yeah, 13 was the bonus ball, but typically an unlucky number. Machine name was the Magical Merlin.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
And ball set 1. So.
Just one? Ball set of just one this week?
Just
that's
one.
Unfortunate.
maybe, we had 3 was the first episode. We're on ball set 1 for this one. Maybe we'll get the traditional 2 next one.
I
Who knows?
hope so.
Who knows?
For all our sanities.
So just to go through what were my numbers. So we had 2, 11, 15, 22, 30 and 56. So no matches at all. So yeah, a bit of a disappointing one. So I also looked at that. There are actually no winners that week.
Good.
So
if we're not going to win, I don't want anybody else to.
Exactly. I think it's probably the universe is just saying that it's probably going to hold off. 4 million. Let's roll that into something bigger. And I think I can survive another week.
Let's get it into 10 million or more. That's what we're waiting for.
I think that's probably what other people are thinking as well. Let's just they were probably a little bit coy with the lottery ticket buying that week. Interest rates probably were stable, and so people were like, let's just play it cool.
Just hold off.
So yeah, no winning numbers this week. But yeah, I don't know if we want to go into what 4 million could get you. I think we kind of already
covered it already.
We kind of
barely anything is basically the answer.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to be put on the spot, I'm thinking, I was on my journey actually into work. I was like, the commute is short, but I was like, it isn't too bad if I was to move out of London and just take the train in. And I was like, 4 million is going to get you a big place outside London.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking, I want my own room, a gym, my own office. Obviously, I've got my own room, but like multiple rooms. I could
multiple of your own rooms.
Yeah, exactly. A walk-in closet was always something that I always thought
Yeah, with
about.
the mirror inside, the drawers in there, all that sort of thing, right?
Everything really. You got that space out there, and I think if you want a property with a walk-in wardrobe, a his and hers kind of sink,
or his and his, or her and
his,
her.
yeah, exactly. Thank you, Chris. For your partner, whatever that may be, or if you're single and you want to have, use a different sink every other day. Yeah, you could. That could be your morning sink. That could be evening sink. Power to you. You've got 4 million. You can afford it. But yeah, I was just thinking like, you could totally get more for your money outside London.
So you can take it a little bit further if you get out into the sticks, 4 million.
Yeah.
But conversely, Tony, let's put it this way: 4 million, it'd probably get you about 2 meters of HS2 track. So when you put it that way, it's not quite as good, is it?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're not sniffing our nose up at 4 million.
We're not, but I need 10 million or more. And this is what we're going back to, good fortune, bad fortune. Sometimes you see something, you feel that you've been slapped in the face. No, the universe is saying there's a reason why you haven't won the lottery this week. It wasn't enough. We're going to wait out at least 10, maybe even 20 million for your winning numbers.
Sometimes, some things are worth the wait, as they say, Chris.
Good things come to those who wait.
But I don't know, it reminds me of a virtue when they said that, I don't know if you agree with this, Chris, actually. They said, people always say that having patience is a good thing. I do agree. But I remember seeing a quote where it said, patience is disguised as a virtue when it's a minor form of despair.
I like that one.
Yeah, so it's something that I've kind of come to terms with, that, in a way, sometimes nobody really enjoys waiting for things. No. Whether it's in line or you're waiting for that next job promotion or that pay rise, or you're kind of waiting, saving up for that house, and you're like, what is one of the things that can help kind of speed that up? Maybe upskill and get that promotion or work harder, and you get a bigger salary, or job hop as people do these days, or you can actually start looking at where are the opportunities to kind of speed that up, and hence me trying to play the lottery. I mean, imagine that. It's as the weeks kind of go by, I'm playing it, I'm manifesting, I'm taking a conscious effort to actually really think about the numbers that I think are speaking to me that week. And it could speed up that process of me being financially free. I mean, for those that don't actually play the lottery, you're still running that kind of that hamster wheel of going to work or starting your own business, and that's completely fine. But I'm doing that, but also kind of hedging my bets on the lottery as well.
And why not? And as you say, patience can be a good thing. It can feel frustrating. Patience can be a bad thing. And I think that's what Lucy Letby said about her patience.
Exactly.
Sorry if I've taken it off topic. I do apologise.
Yeah, that is exactly, Chris. I mean, there's so many different ways you can look at it. Where there's like patience can be seen as a negative. Great. If we move on to segment 2, what's the topic of the week, Chris?
The topic of the week this week. So, what we want to talk about, Tony, this week is who would you tell that you won the lottery, and in what order would you tell them? So I know we've sort of explored in the last couple of episodes with you, Tony, of, I think you came into this, you said, I don't really want to tell anyone, but you kept making a very good point, which was, I wouldn't tell anyone straight away. Correct, but actually, as we go down the line a little bit, you might be open to telling them. So, I'll hand the floor to you.
I think it was always going to come to this kind of topic because, as I mentioned in the last podcast, is that enjoying life is all about sharing. And yes, it's completely your choice if you want to keep it completely to yourself. But there's got to be a point, I think, with most winners, they're going to want to let the people that are closest to them know that they've come into a significant amount of money, because you're going to be spending on stuff that is going to kind of raise questions. And it actually got me thinking, Chris, about who would I tell? And there are obviously some obvious people that I would tell, i.e. parents, girlfriends, and so forth. But then I started thinking about what is the actual order I would go about telling these people in my life? But also, how would I go about breaking the news? I generally think, the more I thought about it, I think the conversation with my parents is probably going to be quite different to my girlfriend and to probably my best mates about how I actually, won this money, that I'm actually rich now, I'm a millionaire. And there's going to be, consequences is probably the wrong word, but there's going to be repercussions of when they hear that news about how much may they want from it, or how much am I willing to give. These are going to be awkward questions, but I think before we get into that stage, we're going to have those conversations probably as another topic about how much you would look at dividing this newfound money.
Need an Excel sheet for that, don't you?
Exactly. You might start needing to look at percentages and years you've known someone potentially, or has the favours add up, and tit for tat over time.
Yeah.
We might even need to get some kind of financial modelling here.
Well, I'm just thinking maybe we need to start doing that now, because we're going to be busy once we've won the money. We're going to be Wetherspoons, whatever it is. So we might want to start cracking out that model ASAP.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's good to go, and for we know, it might be quite a robust model that we can actually share with our listeners,
Yeah.
So we go, look,
for a small fee.
Yeah, for a small fee, we can go, look, enter your jackpot amount. Here's, how much you like your parents. This is how much this is the percentage it will work out to give them, and so forth, with your cousins, your second cousins, and your uncles and aunties.
How many times were you grounded by your all these different questions we can provide, and maybe we actually provide the algorithm that decides, based on their answers, how much did you like your parents?
Potentially,
How much did you like your uncle? Were there any issues that you had?
And it's always a question about, the very hard question that you can ask, a parent, someone that is a parent, going like, which child is your favourite? And I'm going to assume that, let's be honest, I mean, I know I'm the favourite child, but I'm just saying, let's be honest, most parents will go like, I can't choose. They're very diplomatic. They'll go like, they're all my favourites, but I would say if they were put on the spot, like if they're going to be true to themselves, they're going to have a slight favourite child over the other. And you can flip it around and go, do you like your mum better than your dad?
Yeah.
And then I think
Lie detector test. Lie detector test, so that we find out the real answer. And the algorithm just spits that one out. Oh, hang on a minute.
Well,
okay, you do prefer your mum. Okay, you do prefer your dad.
for them, I thought you were gonna say you got to flip it round and ask. If you did have siblings, you would actually put your mum through a lie detector test and go, "Who's your favourite child?" And if it's not you, you give her less.
We can do it. Oh, that's a really good idea. We'll do it both ways. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that could be quite interesting. But hey, it's something to explore if you really wanted to make sure that you're giving the right amounts to your various different family members.
Yeah.
But talking about parents, I mean, I think that's an obvious. Parents will be the first people I would let know that I've won the lottery. And I was thinking to myself, how would I go about doing it? You could easily go, "Mum, Dad, I won the lottery. Oh, yay!" Or you could be a little bit more kind of memorable about it. And I was actually inspired by a YouTube video that I saw, and it's nothing to do with that about winning the lottery actually, but it is about a son coming into wealth and somehow kind of letting his parents know about it. And I thought it was quite a moving video. And basically, the video is about it looked like in a Hispanic family. I believe it's somewhere in Canada or America. And it's quite a short video, but what you see is that you see the son, he's obviously a young adult, and his parents, they're kind of sitting on a sofa. The dad, he's kind of just lying, leaning on his son, it's quite wholesome. And the mother's, sitting next to them, they're all on the sofa. And the son actually goes, he pulls out an envelope from his pocket, and I think it's the lead up to Christmas, and he hands it to the mother. And he goes, this is this Christmas present. And she's, what is this? And she opens up the letter, and she's still confused. She's, what is this? What is this? She keeps saying that, what is this? And then you can see her kind of really focusing on reading it. And suddenly she starts kind of weeping and starts crying.
Really?
And then the son is still kind of chill, like he doesn't say anything. And then the mother actually hands it to the father, and he's kind of quite elderly, and he's like, "Oh, well, what is this?" And then he looks at it, and then he starts welling up. And then what you find out from the YouTube kind of description is that the son is an app developer, and he's obviously created a quite successful app. And he's basically the letter is he's just paid off their mortgage, and it's quite
emotional.
It's quite a beautiful, emotional, just to see his parents start welling up and crying, and then they're hugging their son. And they look like they're from quite humble beginnings, hard-working family. Son's done good. And that kind of inspired me in a sense that I was like, how would I want to break the news to my parents? And I was thinking something like buying them a brand new house, a new house somewhere that's a lovely place in London.
In London.
Yeah, in London. My dad still likes the city.
Okay.
And taking them on a bit of a walk. Day trip. We'll have a nice lunch, and then they're in. So where are we? We're in
Hampton. Farringdon. Okay.
Yeah. I want them to be walking distance.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, I just want to show you something. Oh, where are we going? And then we suddenly enter this nice townhouse. And then they'll be like, oh, where are you? Where are you taking us? And I'll just hand them some keys. And then my dad would be like, what are these keys? And my friends, I'll be like, welcome to your new home, Mum and Dad.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
So I want, that's what I envisage. And obviously I'll hire someone to film the whole thing, so I could put it on YouTube.
I'll do it if you want.
Oh yeah, so we'll get the YouTube views and stuff. But that's
as long as we split the revenues.
Oh yeah, of course. I think these wholesome videos seem to do well, and then but that's how I think about kind of breaking the news to my parents.
Such a beautiful way to do it. Yeah, I really like that, and I think it would rack up the views on YouTube.
Yeah, I think so. I'll go, but I'll probably. My mum's quite an emotive person. I could see her kind of being quite hysterical and breaking down.
Oh, that's even better. I think that would really ramp up the views. As long as we don't have to flag it as sensitive content.
Oh no.
That would be really good.
Yeah, I think it'd be quite wholesome.
Is your dad a bit more of a calm individual?
I think this might be in the points where he might start just. I can imagine just these like manly tears probably coming out and just being kind of like so pleased and overjoyed with the whole. I mean, who wouldn't be, right?
Just sobbing like he did when Arsenal lost the league last season, right?
Oh yeah. I mean that was pretty hard hitting.
That was sensitive content.
That was sensitive.
Yeah.
So close but no cigar. But yeah, I mean that's the parents. I mean, like if I was to touch upon, say, my sibling.
Yeah, so you've got one sister. That's right, isn't it? One sister that you'd have to let know. Would you go for her before your girlfriend or your friends or the rest?
I mean, I think naturally you got parents.
Blood's thicker than water, right?
Exactly, and I think to be honest, with my sister, it wouldn't be any drawn out process. So I'll probably be a little bit mean about it.
Oh, really?
You know, I'll have all the, I'll make her work for it. I'll be like, I've got some money. If you want some of this, I'll make her do little forfeits, like eat this sachet of wasabi, and I'll give you $5,000, and she'll do that, or like.
I like it. Yeah.
Or like do a TikTok dance and upload it. I'll give you like $50,000, and not just be stuff like that. I'll be like, oh, go out and get me a takeaway. Here's $2,000. And I think she'll be glad. She'll be happy to do it.
Who wouldn't? If all you want is a takeaway and you're getting off of $50,000. Yeah.
And I think it's brothers and sisters. That's how the relationship is.
Yeah. Has to be.
Yeah. Talking about girlfriend, I mean, like, obviously another important person in my life.
You've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
Things have got quite serious lately. So how would you broach it with her?
So I really thought about this. So, I'll just go straight to the point.
Yep.
I'll be like...
Will you marry me?
No, I'll be like straight up. You'll be like, it's not working out.
Oh.
This is goodbye. Send text. And I mean that should be quick and easy.
Hey Siri. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yeah. There's actually a bit of a scenario that me and my girlfriend have come up with before. Like if we were to come into lots of money, I don't know how it came about, but we just talked about Rolex watches, or just walking her to a Rolex shop, going inside, and she'd be like, "Why are we in here?" I could like choose, and then.
Me.
Well, I'll be like, I don't know, I've got one. Like, which one do you want? You go for it, and then I think the penny will drop. She's like, where you? What? How can you afford? They'll be like, I'll go. I guess I'll be all kind of like Phil Mitchell. Will be like, we're gonna be all right, babes. We're gonna be all right.
Princess.
Yeah.
Gonna be all right, princess.
Yeah.
But would you do matching Rolex? Is that a bit lame?
Because obviously I have quite manly tastes. I don't think she would replicate the same. I think something a bit more elegant for her. And after the Rolex, we'll have the kind of probably a nice suite booked into kind of a nice hotel type of thing.
Premier Inn?
Travelodge, no.
Oh, Travelodge, yeah.
Imagine that, Rolex.
Days Inn.
Yeah. No, it'll be a nice kind of upmarket hotel.
Rosewood, something like that.
Rosewood
Mind
Hotel.
you, the most expensive hotel of all time in London has just opened, or is just about to open.
Really? Which one was that?
Yeah, and I can't. By the end of the podcast, I'll let you know the name.
Okay,
we'll come back to that. So I think I'm just thinking.
I'll put that on the list. I'll put that on the list to go there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, it depends how much the jackpot. So I just dropped like.
I mean, if it's
20K
4 million,
on,
you've just dropped 20K on a Rolex.
Twice with the
Twice. No, it's probably not going to work out.
Okay, and then I think it's probably standard procedure with the uncles and aunts, and cousins. I'll be just something like, you're in college, I'll just pay off your student loan type of thing, and then I'll obviously treat them to. Again, I think something to explore a bit later, but they're a little bit further down the rung, I would say. But then if you're going to kind of best friends and group of close friends, obviously these are the people that I've grown quite close with from when I was very young. They've seen the best and worst of Tony, and growing up, there were some times where we struggled. We really had to band together. So these are kind of like my bros. So I can imagine like the conversation being very different to say, as I spoke about, to how would I break the news to my parents. So I really have to get down to my level, with my friends. So I think when I was really exploring like what the conversation would be like, I actually had it in my head already. So I can imagine, if you want to hear it, Chris.
Yeah, I'd love to. I would love to hear exactly how you tell them.
How I would tell them.
Would it be via voice note or something like that?
No, this will be kind
in person, man to man.
Yeah, you know what? It might be a voice note. I mean, this is how we usually kind of communicate, or it could be in person. So, because I see him quite often, we hang out with boys over the weekend. So it'd be something like this. It'd be like, yes, bruv, what are you saying? Listen, you know what? I'll allow you for that tenner you owe me, bruv. For reals, man's got bare peas now. Real talk. Let's link up in ends first. Man's got a new whip before we get gas with a mandem. Know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's how, I would kind of communicate to my best friends that I grew up with.
That's it. And just to let everybody know, you are from North London.
Yeah, I mean, this is, people don't know this, but this is where I grew up. And this
you are a roadman.
In a way,
you
yes.
are a roadman.
So it's almost like, in a way, it's like started from the bottom, now we're here type of
Rags
scenario.
to riches.
Rags to riches. So one of the things about winning the lottery is that, in a way, that you've been at the bottom, now you've kind of ascended. Yeah, you've ascended now with these new riches. You've only got to bring the people up with you that have been with you from the start, really.
And to be honest, you're doing your bit for society by doing that, because you're making a more equal society by spreading the wealth around, dragging these people up.
Exactly. If Rishi Sunak isn't willing to do it, I think some people have got to take it in their own hands.
I think Rishi Sunak's probably got enough wealth to give us all at least £1,000.
Well, I think his missus is a billionaire.
Yeah.
And he's got
a fair bob.
He's got a fair bob. He's doing all right.
And he's entitled to half of everything that she has. So
I don't think we're going to go into about what the news was this week about trying to cut inheritance tax. But not
this week. But I think it's definitely one to touch on if that goes through, because that has a huge impact on if you become a million or billionaire through winning the lotto.
Exactly. I mean, so Chris, that's how I envisage, that's the order that I would think about letting people know, and kind of like how I would go about, telling them that I won the lottery. I mean, so what about you, Chris?
Tony, you've taken me by surprise a little bit there, because in previous weeks we had these conversations of, I'm not going to tell anyone.
Yeah.
I'm not telling anybody at all. And that's kind of the inspiration that I took, because I've noted down who I'd tell and in what order. And here we go. Number 1, financial advisor. Number 2, my law firm. Number 3, my backup law firm. And number 4, my second backup law firm.
Wow.
And then it kind of ends there. And that's just because, the last 2 episodes we had, you were really pushing that agenda of, you don't need to tell anybody. And now you've really put me to shame with these emotional videos with your parents.
I think we've gone opposite ways.
Yeah, completely. When I came into this in the first episode, I was ready to tell everybody.
You already had a speech on what you were going to say your missus. You were going like, darling.
Yeah, darling. Yeah, so I feel a bit bad about that now. But I think it's the sensible route. Okay, I'm not saying, just parroting what you said in the previous episodes, I'm not saying I'm never going to tell anybody else, but you've got to make sure the whole thing's under wraps. So that's why I've got financial advisor. Can you trust your financial advisor? No, I don't trust anybody. I'm getting a law firm. Do I trust my law firm? Not really. I'm getting a second one. Do I trust them? No. Let's get a third. And I think once you've got 3 law firms and a financial advisor, you've got enough people to screw over each other rather than you. So that's what I'm going for.
You're definitely covering your back there, Chris.
Covering back, and
that's quite a wise thing.
It doesn't mean I'm not going to be generous. We talked about cover stories last week, and I think that's sort of my plan. I don't want to tell anybody I've won the lottery. I don't think it's that impressive. though I know we're doing a whole series about how great it would be. I want to really impress people and say, look, I've won this money off my own back in the stock market or metal detecting or whatever it might be.
Oh, well, is this law firm somehow going to enable you to say that you didn't win it via the lottery? Like,
yeah.
You're going to put it through like various shell companies and somehow that it's the type of business.
And there's going to be lots of NDAs signed.
Oh, wow.
All sorts of things. So, I've got a bit of a plan. They're going to help me, the financial advisor and the law firms, to kind of work out what's my cover story.
Wow. So, that makes sense. I mean, we'll probably go into this, but it's like, I generally do believe that how you come to your riches, if you win it to if you've earned it, it's going to be slightly different.
Yeah.
I think, let's be honest, I've walked past a few CEOs in my time, and they're millionaires for sure. So, I mean, most of them in big businesses are millionaires. I don't think I'll be comfortable going, oh, can I have some money off you? If somehow it's someone that you kind of knew and then they've just come into the millions, I think people would be a little bit more comfortable to go, you just come to, can I have a few quid?
I mean, we saw what happened.
Oh, no, you get lunch.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you get
I think it might be your round again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, we covered it last year, what happened to Abraham Shakespeare.
Oh, yes.
Mikey Carroll, whose dogs had their throats slit overnight, by people who wanted to hold him to ransom. So, do you want that for your dogs?
No, definitely not. Well,
mind you, if you've got bully dogs, they're going to be put down anyway soon, so it wouldn't matter.
It's either... Well, I mean, if you had to put me on the spot, Chris, it's either me or them, right?
This gives me an idea. Bully dogs are obviously on the chopping block. It's another thing you could do if you won the lottery. Buy them all up, all the bully dogs in the UK, and ship them back to the US.
What would happen in the US? What...
I think they're legal there. So I think, presumably, if they're going to be banned from the UK, it only means one thing.
Is that for sure? Is that...
It's just a guess.
Wow.
I mean, if they're going to be banned, what else are we going to do with them?
Even if they haven't attacked anyone?
Even if they haven't attacked anyone.
This is almost like a Minority Report thing. It's like getting put down for a crime before it's even committed. But hey, there is evidence of them attacking.
Well, we saw
children.
It in Birmingham, didn't we? The video.
Yes.
And we put down a number related to that, and it didn't win us anything. So maybe the bully dogs are on our side. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. So if we move on to our final segment, so segment 3. It's all about picking next week's winning numbers.
Wow, Tony. I mean, I've already mentioned it today. Again, I hate to say it, but I was absolutely buzzing yesterday when Newcastle United absolutely destroyed Sheffield United at Bramall Lane 8-0. I can hardly believe that I'm saying it. And not only that, but it was the first time in Premier League history where 8 different players scored for one team. 8 different players scored those 8 goals. And that just stood out to me. Figure of 8, let's put that down. What do you think?
I've actually never seen a Premier League game where a clean sheet was achieved and 8 goals went in. I mean, you're kind of bringing up a bad memory here, Chris, with the 8-2 with Man United and Arsenal. I mean, that's still something that kind of still hangs over my head a bit when there's that kind of Man United fan and Arsenal kind of rivalry where they go, oh, we've Arsenal done Invincibles, Man United done the treble. Oh, by the way, we completely destroyed you 8-2. I mean, that's still a bit of pill to swallow, really. But yeah, I mean, Newcastle, I mean, it says it all, 8-0 and a clean sheet. I mean,
we're on the up.
You're in the Champions League as well, so it's, good on you, I guess.
So is that definite? We're going with 8.
I think that's such a significant number from the weekend that I'll just be like, that's definitely got to make it on the list.
But what about you? I mean, how was your weekend?
There's something that, it's actually not something that I saw within kind of news or current affairs. But it was
Okay.
actually a number that was kind of, that's literally spoke to me. Well, not literally, but it was in my face.
Yeah.
Just through my daily life. And it's quite I think it's quite an interesting story how this number came about. So the number is 31.
Okay.
So it's actually came about from essentially broken eggs from Iceland.
Oh.
So not Iceland the country, literally it's that kind of quite cheap supermarket where you get your frozen goods from. And
It's your
some fresh
favourite
goods.
supermarket.
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
think it's. I buy a lot of frozen food basically.
Yeah.
But funny enough, I was doing my weekly shop, and delivery guy came over, and I have to shout out to the Iceland delivery guys. Every single one of them, very super nice guys. And
Really?
I've ordered from Waitrose before, and I still feel like the Iceland guys are more professional and
friendly,
nicer. So what happened was that he was obviously handling my weekly shop, so obviously my frozen goods, my bottled waters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I bought 2 boxes of eggs, so
Right.
2 dozen. So 1 box was fine, but when he handed me the second box of 12 eggs, you can tell that they were broken.
Broken. Yeah, well, that's interesting. I didn't know that frozen eggs could break.
Yeah, so these eggs were fresh. So I actually do some.
Okay.
They actually do sell vegetables and
Right.
milk and stuff.
Not
like that.
everything's frozen.
No, not everything frozen. And so you could see that that clearly it was broken. You could see some of the egg white kind of seeping through the box. And he was like, "Oh, don't worry." He took away. He says, "I'll be back. I'll be back." And I said, I said, "Don't worry about it. I mean, I can always try and get a refund. You've probably got other deliveries. Don't worry about it." But he was like, "No, I'll be back." So we're talking about a good few hours later. I just totally forgot that about it. I'm like, he's probably not coming back. And obviously, I get a knock at the door, and then there he is. He was there, and he handed me the eggs. And then, funny enough, on the actual egg carton itself, I don't know how they process all the various orders, but there was a sticker on it that had my address and number 31 on it. And I guess it's some type of order number or how it gets processed. So I was like, I've never had this from Iceland before, like a big 31. And I was like, that's obviously a sign. That's clearly a number that's got to be used for
that's just
lottery.
staring you in the face, isn't it?
And so, 31. And
31
I don't know
is.
about you, Chris, but I'm thinking that's undeniable.
I think you've got to put it down, but I'm just a bit distracted thinking about frozen eggs because what I'm thinking is that's a topic we've got to cover. Would you freeze your eggs if you won the lottery?
You talk about women?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Would you freeze? But anyway, I think you've got to get the number 31 down.
Okay, yeah, definitely on the list.
And that's in verse 31 because I think that's what you've got next, 13.
Yeah, so if I was, going back to kind of current affairs and news, I saw the number 13 crop up. And, 13 isn't always a number that you associate with positive things.
As we said earlier, unlucky for some.
And, this number came out of Ireland. So 13 arrests after kind of Irish Parliament protests. So I didn't really delve into why they were protesting.
Well, I did see that news, Tony, and there wasn't really a particular reason for it, but it looked like a bunch of thugs protesting outside the Irish Parliament, COVID deniers, various things they were protesting about, including...
Oh, wow.
And I thought COVID, there's no lockdown anymore, but they're still complaining that COVID was a conspiracy. And...
Gotta get the truth out there.
Well, what I always say about that is, who gained from pretending COVID happened? Because people talk about, they put a chip in the vaccine. People can track us with our phones. Why do they need to put a vaccine, spend billions on this vaccine?
Well, that's a massive question there, Chris.
Well, let's not get into it. But what I would like to say, I said unlucky for some 13, but luck of the Irish.
Oh.
And sticking with Ireland and the number 13, you might have seen the epic rugby match in the Rugby World Cup on Saturday night, where Ireland thumped South Africa 13 points to 8. And may I say, South Africa are the world champions.
Wow.
the current holders of the World Cup.
I remember when Japan beat them. Didn't they? Like an underdog.
Well, that's what happened last World Cup. Was South Africa lost to Japan, but then went on to win the World Cup. But yeah, South Africa beaten by Ireland. You might know I am half Irish.
Oh wow!
So I'm half Geordie, half Irish. I know I don't sound like it, and I feel more Irish than ever here because I just see this World Cup draw is opening up. They should face New Zealand in the quarterfinals. If they can beat the All Blacks, which doesn't look impossible now, they've already lost to France. I think Ireland beat All Blacks a year or so ago. The semis would be Wales, Argentina, or Japan. And suddenly you're staring the final in the face.
Oh wow! So they could go all the way. I mean, they're playing well, clearly.
I hope so. They're the world's number one ranked team right now. So I just think this number 13 is calling out to us.
Wow. Are the Irish fans just as good as the football fans? Because I know when
Best
Irish
fans.
football fans, I mean, they are a wholesome bunch. I know I keep using the word wholesome, but I've seen some videos where it's good banter. I have to admit,
it's just good-natured stuff.
It's good. They've got good attitudes. I think it's great.
You've got to watch it back. And at the end of the game, it was in the Stade de France in Paris. They played out the Cranberries. You know, the Irish band, the Cranberries.
Oh,
and
what,
it was
Zombie?
brilliant. Yeah, Zombie. Yeah.
I love that song.
And all the players, all the fans were singing along. So it's worth doing.
Brilliant.
But,
I think there's an old friend that's been cropping up that's kind of popped up again. Again, you were going to give us updates on.
Just a third reason to include the number 13, Tony, is Daniel Khalif, an old friend of ours. He has pled not guilty, and I do need to set the record straight because I think I said on the podcast last week that there was basically no disputing the fact he was guilty of breaking out of prison. He has pled not guilty to the alleged crimes. So we've just got to make that really clear. We don't know whether he did or he didn't. We don't know if he's guilty or not guilty, but yeah, he's pled not guilty, and he'll be back at the Old Bailey on the 13th of October and at Woolwich Crown Court on the 13th of November. So we'll definitely keep our listeners up to date with everything that happens to Daniel Khalif.
I find this very interesting. So he's actually saying that he's not guilty of breaking out of prison when there's records of him being in there and he's running away from prison. And he's saying that...
We don't know. Maybe somebody... Yeah, his defence could be that somebody else took him out of prison. And all we can say is all of these crimes are alleged. And we don't know whether they were committed or not. Okay, and we have to say that for legal reasons.
You know, I totally agree. There has to be a process in place where, you know, this has to be investigated thoroughly, the evidence looked at, and it's clearly going to trial, right? And
it's going to trial.
Yeah, and
we've got to let process take place.
Yeah, we've got to let the...
You said it last week, the British criminal justice system is the best there is.
Yeah, and I believe they'll come to the right conclusion here.
They absolutely will. And the jury have just got to not be swayed by everything in the news or on this podcast. So everything is alleged. We can't prove, confirm, or deny anything.
Perfect. Thank you for the update,
but
Chris.
We will be commenting on him next week and every other week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very riveting story, Chris. So I'm very excited to see how it further develops because it's taken turns that I didn't even think that it would take. So, 13 is definitely on the list. If I move on to my next one, and I think, you know how I always like to look at America?
You do.
And it's always something that I've always done as a kid. I always enjoyed their shows, you know. If it was a British show, I mean, apart from EastEnders, I'd watch it. I'd be like, you know, I want to watch the American stuff. I find it more exciting.
Hang on. But would you put the US office over the UK office?
Oh, no. I
know you would.
Okay, yeah. Definitely the UK office.
I thought you were more of a UK TV lover than a US.
You know what?
Got that? Yeah.
To be honest, I think it probably developed more in later life. Yeah. I think when I was younger, I was quite...
Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network.
Yeah, it was just, you know, I love...
Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, Saved by the Bell, Burgers and Chips. The Death Penalty I was a fan of when I was younger.
What, the show or...?
No, just in general. How
Right.
You know,
So
I'm like,
what
they're
show
doing
that-
things right. You know, being able to buy a gun to defend yourself. You know, and we weren't even. That's again some of the.
We won't get into that
Yeah,
because we can't comment. But now I have a really good picture of you as a kid.
But yeah, if we go into kind of like one of my favorite, my favorite president of recent times, Biden, and he's done.
Is he still alive?
It's a
We
fun-
haven't
it's-
checked the
it's-
news
it's-
since we started the podcast.
If you mean like physically, like still breathing, yes, he is. But other people might actually have an argument that he isn't functioning as what you would expect from a US president.
Yeah.
But
And we can't confirm or deny if he's still alive because we'll check before the end of the podcast.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely still kicking for sure. But yeah, I think he did quite a positive thing where he's cancelled $37 million dollars of federal student loan debt
Right.
for more than 1,200 borrowers who attended the University of Phoenix because it found out that the for-profit school misled students about job prospects. So I found this quite interesting because there was an ongoing kind of political tension about should Biden forgive quite a significant amount of loans, not just like University of Phoenix, but just I guess all kind of student debt, like a large portion. People were kind of on the edge of their seats, looking at, is he going to kind of put a policy in place to forgive student loans? Because as you know, during COVID, a lot of those payments were put on pause. They were like, I'm glad I didn't go to university in America, especially if you go to a private kind of university. You're paying hundreds of thousands almost in terms of just tuition fees. But yeah, I thought that was quite interesting that he definitely passed through paying off $37 million for this particular university, because from what I read here is that this University of Phoenix almost duped the students, that they're saying like, you come to this university, do gender studies, and you're going to get a 6-figure salary in corporate America. And yeah, of course, why wouldn't you expect that? And it's good to know that they didn't pay the price for it, and they'll be debt free. Interesting one. I'm not sure about you. What are your thoughts on that, Chris? I mean, do you think
I'd love to get out there, University of Phoenix. If it's going to be absolutely free by the end, I'll do anything. I just have to be careful that I'm not shot dead while I'm on campus.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, that's always a possibility in America. But I suppose my question to you, Chris, is obviously you studied in the UK. Have you paid off all your student loans? Do you want Rishi to?
I think Rishi has got to cancel our student loans. I think he's got to. But what I'm doing is I'm waiting to win the lottery. That's my plan for all the debt I have, which is racking up into the hundreds of thousands actually. So that's all right. That's all right. It's all on Wonga, so I think the interest rates are quite low.
But I think talking about student loans in America, it's actually one of the loans you actually can't write off. Like if you get bankrupt, you can't bankrupt a student loan in America. It's pretty harsh.
And it's just so high.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. I thought 37 million, so 37. I thought should go on the list.
Let's go 37.
I'm in a bit of a role now. I guess the next one that I kind of saw was an interesting one, was the number 42, and I saw an interesting article about the world's largest and stinkiest flower.
Flower. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something else then.
Is in danger of extinction, and scientists say that there's 42 known species of this parasitic plant called the Rafflesia. It's known as the corpse flower, and they're endangered due to the destruction of forest habitats. And these flowers, as I said, there's 42 known species of them. They smell of decaying meat, and they're to attract kind of flesh-eating flies. So I don't know what your thoughts about that, but I just saw 42. There's 42 species of these things.
Large, stinky, parasitic. That sounds a lot like my ex, actually, Tony.
And what the smells?
The decaying meat. I can't comment for legal reasons.
Oh wow!
But yeah.
Okay, that's well, I guess that's probably why that relationship ended. You had the certain smells were kind of.
I got Daniel Khalif on the case. Allegedly, we cannot confirm or deny.
Okay. So I thought 42 was an interesting one. Moving on to kind of a bit of a kind of nature, which kind of inspired me.
Hey, listen. I mean, we don't want to see anything go extinct. Whether it be American XL bully dogs, whether it be this parasitic plant. So it's important that we raise awareness about it. Even if it is large, stinky, parasitic. Let's try and keep them going. Tony. So I'm glad we've put it out there for people to be aware.
Definitely. I'm sure people will probably explore what are these plants?
Yeah.
That smell like dead people.
Yeah.
Oh, smell the flowers.
But this is what we talk about, cover stories. We talked about Abraham Shakespeare being killed off. This plant could be a great cover story for actually, if you were backed into a corner and you had to murder somebody after winning the lottery.
That is genius.
But let's say the police had pinned it on you. Okay, you did murder them, but you were backed into a corner, but the police don't believe your story. Bury that body next to a load of these parasitic flowers.
Oh my God, I was just saying that if you had it in your backyard, why would you just plant a load of these things? And they say, it's just the plants.
The neighbours won't complain.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
The neighbours might come in and actually burn down the plants.
No, but these are endangered, so they would actually get in trouble.
Yeah. This is a great cover story.
That is so funny.
That's brilliant. But yeah, I just had one more from me as well, which was... I did pay reference to it earlier a little bit. HS2, it is the big talking point in the UK alongside American XL Bully Dogs and Daniel Khalif of, are we going to finish this damn thing or not? They've torn up kilometres, miles of countryside across the country to create a high-speed rail network. I think it's the right thing to do. I don't like to see the countryside torn up, but we need more high-speed rail in this country. So are we going to finish the damn thing? Well, the latest news is that Rishi Sunak is saying that he wants to curtail it at Birmingham instead of going the full way to Manchester. Furthermore, he doesn't want to finish the line at Euston in London. He's going to go Aldo Common, which is this new station near Acton, in the middle of nowhere, to Birmingham.
Who's going to take that? I mean, you want to take it right into central London?
Tony, I've said it all along. What this needed to be is high-speed rail from central London to Scotland. Forget about that. Yeah. But anyway, 26 billion is what they're saying is the cost to finish Birmingham to Manchester. But given the amount we've already spent, let's just finish it off.
That's 26 billion on top of all the other billions that they've already spent.
Exactly.
That is...
But I mean, it's sunk cost fallacy, isn't it? Let's just get this thing done.
Wow, I mean, 26 billion. Wow. I mean, just to have a slice of that, I mean...
26, that's what I mean. 4 million, how many metres of track would that get you?
Yeah, we should work that out, actually. It's like that. I mean, 4 million, won't get you that much track, to be honest. Right, I think that brings us to all six numbers, really. So if I kind of remind our listeners, so what are the numbers that I guess I would be buying for this coming Saturday's draw in numerical order is 8, 13...
Unlucky for some.
26, 31, 37... and 42. How are you feeling about those numbers, Chris?
I'm positive about it. I mean, we've tried Daniel Khalif the first 2 weeks and it didn't work out. But I think if we keep going for it, and we found two other reasons why the Daniel Khalif number could be there as well. So
I think he's going to deliver for us eventually.
He's been delivering for us for years, and that's part of the problem. But anyway.
So yeah, those are the winning numbers
For sure.
hopefully for next week.
Can we buy Daniel Khalif out of prison if we win the
But he might be
jackpot?
innocent, Chris.
So, allegedly.
I mean, yeah.
We wouldn't want to because we want to let nature take its course.
So I think that brings us to the end of episode 3. So thank you for listening, and we shall join you next week to see if we've won the lottery. Bye.
Bye-bye.